Hey, bienvenidos! My name is Jedley. This is Reading with Your Kids. We're beaming out to you and the entire planet from the beautiful, book-loving neighborhood of Reedville, the loveliest neighborhood in all of Boston. Reading with Your Kids is more than just a podcast. It's a movement. Our mission is to help all families grow stronger, closer, and kinder through the magic of reading together. And we are absolutely thrilled to have you with us on that journey. Please help us spread the word by telling all of your family and friends, your kids' teachers, principals, librarian, even the school crossing guard about the show. And let them know that they can hear us on the WREB AM/FM 24/7 radio network. And they can find us on the iHeartRadio app, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Good Pods, Amazon Music, Audible, YouTube, CastBox. Wherever you find your favorite shows, you can find Reading with Your Kids. Two wonderful guests for you today. First up, Allie Slocom is here to celebrate her middle grade novel, Is There Hope, for Theodore Cope. And later in the show, Nicole Smith-Schultz will be here to celebrate her new picture book. It's called My Baby Doll. This episode of Reading with Your Kids is brought to you by Fart Boy and Reeky Dog, Dino Doom. Fantastic new graphic novel written by New York Times bestselling author Joan Holub, who's written over 200 amazing books for kids. It's school sleepover at the museum. What could go wrong? Well, how about this? A snack-fueled explosion of garbanzo beans and peanuts unleashes a stink so powerful it brings the dinosaurs back to life. Now, Fart Boy, Reeky Dog, and their friends are in the middle of a dino-sized disaster. They have to solve tricky riddles, find missing bones, and stop the stinkiest villain of all, Professor Gravy Pants. Because if they don't, the dinosaurs could take over. Or worse, they could become Dino Dinner. This action-packed graphic novel is bursting with friendships, adventure, and enough laughs to shake the museum walls. If your kids love superheroes, if they love dinosaurs, and if they love to laugh until they can't breathe, then Fart Boy and Reeky Dog Dino Doom is the book for you. Because sometimes the power to save the world comes from the unlikeliest place. Grab your copy today and get ready for a reading adventure that's truly dynamite. Hey, my friends, I want to tell you about a coffee company I recently discovered that really lines up with the values we talk about right here at Reading with Your Kids. It's called Frera Coffee Company, and they're doing things the right way. The coffee is sourced directly from certified Rainforest Alliance farms in Central and South America, with a big focus on farms in El Salvador. I love El Salvador. They work directly with local farmers, support sustainable farming practices, and even use recyclable and combustible packaging. Now, all of that would already make me feel good about supporting them, but honestly, the coffee itself, it's fantastic. You can really taste the quality. The beans are grown in rich volcanic soil and carefully roasted, so the flavor really comes through smooth, rich, and super aromatic. Now, whether you're somebody who loves a strong espresso to get moving in the morning, or you prefer a lighter roast while reading a good book, Frera has something you're going to enjoy. And this is kind of beautiful. 5% of all their sales goes to charities helping conserve and preserve the great outdoors. So if you'd like to try coffee that tastes amazing and supports good people doing good work, head on over to afreracoffee.com. That's AFUERA coffee.com, and use the promo code READ to get an exclusive 15% off your order. And of course, when you use the code, you're also helping support the podcast. Great coffee and helping families grow closer together. I call that a pretty magical way to start your day. I have a feeling I am going to have a blast in this interview. Our guest is joining us from the great state of Colorado. She's here to celebrate her middle grade novel. It's called Is There Hope, for Theodore Cope. Please welcome to the show, Allie Slocom. Allie, how are you?
I'm doing so great today. Thank you so much for having me, Jed. This is going to be so much fun.
Yeah, I'm real excited. I just found out that Theodore is a magician, young man after my own heart.
Absolutely. I mean, he's an aspiring magician. He's only 11 years old, but I've met some magicians that are pretty talented at that age in my day. So, yeah,
A-
he's pretty good.
Allie, I will be very honest with you, and I have no problem sharing this. Most 11-year-old magicians have forgotten more magic than I will ever know in my entire lifetime. I am not, I was not that kid that, was doing magic at 9, 10, 11 years old. I didn't get into it until I was, in my 20s when I started performing. I started as a clown and doing a lot of slapstick comedy, which the kids loved. Teachers not so much. And at first I said, well, I'm here for the kids. Then I realized the teachers were the ones who paid me.
Yes.
So I started adding some little magic and, just real simple things. And the kids liked it. And so I was learning more. And then I had a chance, to meet Penn and Teller after one of their shows in Boston, and they were doing
That's fun.
their levitation illusion, and my wife somehow got Teller to tell me how to do it. And I did it, and I added it to my show, and from then on, didn't matter what I was wearing, people go, oh, you're a magician. And I'm like, no, really, I'm a clown. So it's cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Great job. Yeah.
So tell me about Theodore, and why is it so hard for him to cope?
Well, Theo for short, is a neurodiverse in the gifted sense. A lot of people, when they hear neurodiversity, they think autism right away and don't realize that being gifted is a neurodiversity. And so he's extremely gifted. He's great at math and reading, and he's in accelerated classes, but he doesn't have a lot of that executive function, which is basically the ability to get things done. And so a lot of people think he's irresponsible, but the reality is he just doesn't really have the skills to follow through. And so he's a yes man. He wants to do everything for everybody. He loves walking dogs. He loves basketball. So he's doing pickup games all the times. He's a magician, so he loves doing tricks and things like that, but he just doesn't realize when he's reached his capacity. And so then he kind of crumbles underneath it all. So the cover of the book is actually 2 feet sticking out. They're buried underneath like a guitar, a basketball, music, calculators, AirPods, music, magic tricks, books, all of the things. And so it's really not that he's irresponsible. It's just that he doesn't have really great executive functioning. And so learning to kind of get those skills, which none of us are born with, but each of us, they come online at different times. And so just realizing that, there's not something flawed about him. There is hope for him. But sometimes you just have to learn to either say no or just manage your time or learn those little tricks that help you out with things like schedules and things like that.
Yeah. Boy, I have somebody in my life that I adore and love very much. Having this exact issue. It's like, yeah, I want to do everything for everybody, but I only have 24 hours in a day.
Right. And prioritizing and knowing like when to put something off and when this has to happen now. It's a really important skill to learn.
Yeah. Yeah. You mentioned something, you used the phrase, his executive function hasn't come online yet. And that's one of the things many, many years ago, I was helping out at a daycare, and I was with this young kid, and we're having fun. And I said, "Hey, how many coins do I have?" And the kid goes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I said, "So you have how many coins?" 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so that means you have 1, 2, 3. And
he had to count every time.
Yeah, and he couldn't say 5. And then a couple of weeks later, he could, and it was like I saw that switch. It up like that. And I think we forget that we need to make connections in our brains, and our kids are making connections. And usually we don't see it that dramatically. But I think we have to find ways to give a little grace to those kids whose pathways haven't aligned up with everybody else's.
Exactly. Yeah. And I'm a teacher 3 days a week. So I write kind of on the side on my weekends and in the summers and things like that. So I actually work with gifted kids at my school. And so I see kids at every single level. And when they get to fifth grade, which is Theo's age, that's when we really dive into the different realms, for lack of a better word, of executive functioning. And we practice working memory. We practice cognitive flexibility. We practice inhibitory control. And they love doing it. It's the thing is, it's actually fun to practice these things. And kids don't even realize sometimes when they're playing games that they're actually building their executive functioning skills. And so as a teacher, I've created a little boot camp that goes along with the book. So parents can get that to play those games at home with their kids and be helping them build their executive function skills as they're reading the story or playing with their parents afterwards. There's discussion questions at the end of each chapter too, so parents can, it's a great family read aloud for like after dinner or bedtime, things like that. So I love that you can bring all of those things in together for families to have fun together, because it's not like, oh, you have to be a certain age to be able to play this game, because a lot of them, it's just like they're different levels.
Right.
And Theo has a 6-year-old sister and a 9-year-old brother, and sometimes they're better at things than he is as an 11-year-old. So it's just everybody's different, and everybody, learns asynchronously, which is like not at the same time. And it's really fun to just see kids and their differences.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, you mentioned that you're a teacher working with an accelerated program. I'm hearing a lot these days that there are school systems, and I don't want to misname the school, but there was one big city school system that said, yeah, no, the gifted classes, we're getting rid of those. That's not fair. Where do you stand on that?
Thankfully, our district is still very supportive. I'm, again, only part-time, but yes, we have monthly meetings where I'm learning all of these really great things about executive functioning and brain cognitive, the functions of the brain. And yeah, I feel like I've learned so much, and then I get to take that back and teach the kids too. So, and I believe every kid is gifted. So as a GT facilitator is what my role is called, I push into every single classroom. Yes, I have pullouts of those neurodiverse kids who have been identified as different, and that's like the special ed of GT, which I think you're talking about is what's getting cut maybe in a lot of schools. But I also push into every single grade level, K through 5, every single classroom, and it takes me a whole month to get to them all. But one day of my week is dedicated to that. And so I see every kid in the school, and I get to do lessons with them on what we call depth and complexity, thinking deeper and more complex. I mean, it is what it sounds like it is, about like a picture book. And sometimes I can have a deeper, more meaningful conversation with my kindergartners than with my 5th grade. Like, the beauty of it is anybody can dive as deep as they want, because, you take it to your level. And so I'm very blessed that I get to do that in my school, and I love my job, and I love the kids I get to work with, and that I get to see every single one of them.
That's fantastic. I love that you mentioned that you can have deep conversations with kindergarten kids about people. Boy, when my kids were young, and we would just talk about books, the books that we're reading on such deep levels, and that continued on. I remember having these really deep philosophical conversations with my daughter when she was in 7th and 8th grade, talking about things that are really meaningful. And it's all built on that foundation of reading with your kids when they're young and asking them questions.
That's why your podcast is so great. You're giving these parents all these different resources, right? You're introducing them to all these books that they can read aloud. Now, my books are not picture books. I have a spin-off series from Theo's book, which is for like kindergarten, 1st, 2nd, and it's secretly teaching the parts of speech. I say that quietly, so yeah, they can't know. But like the first one is a mystery. And so there's clues, and the clues are actually all of the noun standards, K through 2. And then there's a little activity book that parents can download, and the kids can actually try and solve the clues before the kids in the book. So the book is actually the answer key, but the kids aren't realizing that they're learning. Same thing with, the verb one. It's an escape room style. So it's more like puzzles and codes that they have to crack. But yeah.
Yeah,
And it's called the
cool.
Little Sib series because it's all the little siblings of the kids in the Character Club series, which Theo is actually book 5, but
Mhm.
he just came out. So that's what we're talking about today.
Awesome. Tell me, what inspired you to create this series?
Well, it's called the Character Club series because I used to teach a character club in my home after school for my daughter's class. They would come over and we just invited the girls at the time. It was just a girls club. But the book series is boys too. But for 3 years, I taught all these different character lessons, like building compassion skills, integrity, Theo, like responsibility, also forgiveness and respect and things like that. And so when those girls, after 3 years, were about to go into middle school, I wanted to give them something to remember all the
Mhm.
things we talked about. And so I had always heard that a lot of children's publishers don't want a standalone book. And so I
Mhm.
thought, well, I would have to have a series. How would I do that? And one day after club, I was feeling kind of nostalgic because I knew it was coming to an end. And I was looking at the posters that I have for each of the character traits or virtues. And I realized there's 8 of them to get through the year. I was like, there's my series. I could write one book for each of the different traits and have a different kid that comes to the same character club be like on a journey, because we never really arrive. We're never perfect at compassion, right? And so like they're on that journey to that specific trait. And so that's how the series was born. The first one was given to them. It was dedicated to those girls who are now all 21.
Wow.
But yeah, so it's taken me a while to get through the series, but I'm on book 5 now. So I'm over halfway. I'm feeling pretty good about it. But
That's
yeah.
great. Yeah. So let me get this straight. You decided, I'm going to teach the kids in my daughter's class and going to invite them over to my house and we're going to have this character class.
Exactly. Yep.
That's so cool.
Thank you.
No,
Yeah.
but it really is, because I'm sure that there are a lot of folks out there who are like, we need to teach our kids, character. What was did the community embrace the idea with open arms?
I was actually shocked how good the response was. She had 30 kids 30 girls in the 2 third grades at her school, and 17 of them came. I thought maybe I'd get 6 or 7, but
Wow.
no, I had 17, which is over half. And they consistently came for 3 years. And when a new student would come, they'd be like, hey, come on over. So yeah, it was amazing, the turnout.
Wow.
And then I did it again for my daughter, my youngest, because when my oldest went to 6th grade, my youngest was in 3rd grade, and I did it again for her class. We only got 8 or 9
Uh-huh.
for her group, but different people in different situations. And it was fun to, play all the games with a really big group and then figure out how to play all the games with a smaller group too. And all of the kids in my books do go to this character club. So like the lessons, there's a historical vignette in each book. And so Theo's is Ernest Shackleton, he was the guy who tried to get across Antarctica first, and his ship got stuck in the ice. And so for over 2 years, they were literally living on an ice floe. Well, for some of that, they ended up on an island. But anyway, yeah, they're fascinating stories. So I have people like Clara Barton, George Washington Carver, Corrie ten Boom, and so different historical figures that they learn about in the character club. And so the character club that I taught is actually enveloped in each story. So they're going to Mrs. Keller is my character, I guess, and she's a retired school teacher. And so the kids come to her house after school once a week, and she has a snack, and then they do a lesson, and sometimes there's like a cooperation activity, so all of the games are things that I do in the character club too. So the books really were pretty easy to write. It's just a matter of finding time. But yeah, like all the lessons are just kind of woven into the story.
Wow. I'm very, very impressed.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I'm not I mean, just to be able to sit down and say, there's some issues and we can make things better, and I'm going to step up and do it.
Yeah, well, I always wanted to be an author from when I was in 3rd grade myself. So it just kind of was a easy connection to make. And especially like when I started teaching the character club at my house, I wasn't teaching. So when my daughters were born, my husband and I decided that I would stay home with them. And so I had all this creative energy that wasn't being used. And so, yeah, I poured it into creating this character club. And so it's actually from a curriculum that my husband and I taught when we were in Russia, because after the fall of communism, they realized that they had no morals and ethics. And so I had learned the curriculum when I was over there and used some of it in my classroom when I was teaching. But then when I had my girls, I was at home and I'm like, how can I want to use this. And so that's kind of how it all came to be.
I keep getting paths to go down here. All right, you get it.
So, yeah. You can have me back another time. I'll come back and talk more.
We can put how did you and your husband end up teaching morals and character in Russia at the fall of the Soviet Union?
Well, they realized they didn't have any morals or ethics. So they invited, I'm trying to remember the name of the organization. One was the Association of Christian Schools International. And then I think, I can't remember it was 3 organizations that came together. But, yeah, they had these organizations come in and create this curriculum. And oddly enough, the Bible is the textbook of it. And so they would use that to get some of the lessons. Now, my books were written for for the public schools, so they are not Christian in that sense. They come maybe from that worldview, but they're not for a solely Christian audience at all, because I'm a public school teacher and I want my books to be used there. So they're not Christian, but the original curriculum came from that vein.
But that's fascinating.
It is fascinating because I was teaching public school teachers this curriculum using the Bible in Russia. I'm like, that's never going to happen in America. And they were so open to it and so receptive and such amazing people.
Yeah.
They were amazing.
A good reminder that, just because we disagree with a country's government doesn't mean the people are bad.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
I love that you're so well traveled and you share with authors from all over the world. I just love travel. That's one of my passions too. So I think it's amazing too. Yeah, we're going to Costa Rica this summer, and yes, I've been to Russia, and yeah, there's just amazing people all over the world, and we're all the same people, you know?
Yeah, we are. It's funny. You go in Costa Rica. Costa Rica is a beautiful country.
Yes.
Do you know where you're staying?
No.
Okay.
But somebody does.
Okay. Well, it's
I'm not in charge. I'm just going to show. But yeah, I mean, we're going to be near San Jose. But my favorite place is Monteverde. I went there for my 40th birthday, and it was gorgeous.
I had a bunch of guys over that I played soccer with in high school many decades ago. And one of the guys was originally from Costa Rica, and we were very close.
Oh, nice.
And I was telling him how we had been in San Jose for about a week, and we're very comfortable walking around the city. And one night, my beautiful wife and I went to church Saturday afternoon. We came out, and we must have taken a left instead of taking a right. All of a sudden, we're walking down the street, and I'm like, "Hey, baby, we're not in Oz anymore." You know? And so I go ask the pharmacy where the hotel is, and she walked in the pharmacy, and people just go, "What are you doing here? You can't be here." And I'm telling the story to my friend Marco, and he's like, "Oh yes, you took a left. You shouldn't have taken a left. I know exactly where you were. That was not a good place to be."
Oh no.
But
I'm glad you're okay. Yeah, I'm so glad.
We were fine. And Costa Rica is a beautiful nation. People. I've been to 4 countries in Central America, and I've loved them all. The people are absolutely wonderful.
Yes, we had 2 girls from there stay with us in January, and they're our extra daughters now, so we can't wait to see them again.
Well, that's, you mentioned I'm well traveled. I've been to the Caribbean and Central America and a couple of countries in Europe, but most of our quote unquote travel was done here in our home by hosting kids from other countries as they studied in Boston. And what a beautiful if anybody has an opportunity to do that, go for it. It's like you said, it's like welcoming somebody into your family.
Yes,
And we are still in
absolutely.
touch with every kid that lived with us. And, in fact, one of our daughters from China was just over, 2 weeks ago. We had dinner with her and met her new boyfriend, and,
Aw,
they're doing great. And, it's wonderful. It's
that
wonderful.
is wonderful. Yes.
You might appreciate this. Every time we pick them up at the airport, and we always picked our new kids up at the airport. They the school would have buses for them. And I said, no, I'm going to pick them up. And I'd go and pull into our driveway, and I'd say, do you see the hotel sign over my house? And they'd look and they go, no. And I go, great. There is none. You're coming in. You're going to be part of our family. And we'd say that before they step through the door. And they all did become part of our family.
Yeah, they do. They really do.
Yeah.
And we only had our girls here, I don't even think it was 10 full days, but they've just integrated into our family. We had like nightly rituals. We called it ice cream party. We had to have our ice cream every night. Like one night we got home, I think we were snow tubing in the mountains. We got home. It was probably 10:30, 11. And we're like, hey girls, it's late. We understand. Just go to bed. They're like, no, we need ice cream party. So yeah, here we are getting out the ice cream 11:30. My husband and I are usually in bed at 9. It's different. Thank goodness it was only for a week. I don't think we could have handled it much longer.
So, what was the inspiration to have Theodore be a magician?
Oh, I don't remember the guy's name, but he was a Michigan State college graduation speaker, and he was speaking on the 4 styles of magic, making something appear, disappear, trading places, and then transformation. And as I was listening to that speech, I was like, oh my gosh, that's such a metaphor for Theo becoming responsible. Like he needs to, at the end of the story, like be transforming into like this guy who does kind of have some responsibility and has learned to follow through on things and do what he says he's going to do and things like that. So the magic is really kind of a metaphor for him learning responsibility.
Good. That's wonderful. Tell me, is book 6 in the works?
It is, yes.
Yeah.
It's about a girl who loves the Olympics.
Okay.
And it's on initiative. So she has all these great ideas, but follow through is a little bit tricky.
Well, you have an open invitation to come back and celebrate when book 6 is available.
Oh, well, thank you so much. Yes. And it's been 10 years since my first book. So in September, we're having, for anyone in Colorado, we're having a 10-year celebration. So all the information will be on my website if anybody's local and wants to stop on by.
Well, let's tell everybody where the website is.
Okay. It is www.characterclubonline.com.
We've had a great time speaking to the author of Is There Hope for Theodore Cope? Our guest has been Allie Slocom. Hey, Allie, thanks for being on Reading with Your Kids.
Thank you so much for having me. This has been a blast.
This episode of Reading with Your Kids is brought to you by Atmosphere Press. Have you been dreaming about publishing a children's book, one that sparks imagination, creates bedtime memories, and maybe even becomes part of a family's story for years to come? The truth is, great ideas deserve more than a file sitting on your laptop. They deserve to become real books, beautifully designed, professionally published, and ready to reach young readers everywhere. At Atmosphere Press, you get expert guidance through every step of the journey, from editing and illustration to design, distribution, and marketing. So your book doesn't just get published, it gets positioned for success. Whether it's your first picture book, a middle grade adventure, or the story you've been carrying for years, now's the time to bring it to life. Visit atmospherepress.com to send in your manuscript and see what your book could become. That's atmospherepress.com, where your book can go above and beyond even your wildest dreams. Hey, this episode of Reading with Your Kids is brought to you by AspireDrinks.com. Hey, I have a quick question for you. Have you ever wanted a little extra energy, but not the kind that makes your heart race or leaves you crashing an hour later? Well, that's exactly why I want to tell you about Aspire drinks. You'll find them at aspiredrinks.com. Aspire calls itself a healthy energy drink, and honestly, that description really fits. Instead of loading you up with sugar or extreme caffeine, Aspire delivers a gentle, steady boost with 80 milligrams of natural caffeine from green tea and guarana. That's about half the caffeine of most energy drinks, enough to help you stay focused without the jitters or the crash. It's also zero sugar, 0 calories, and 0 artificial additives, which makes it a great choice for parents, teachers, and anyone trying to make healthier choices while still getting things done. And get this, it actually tastes great, light, crisp, and lightly sparkling, with flavors like sweet cherry, raspberry acai, mango lemonade, that's what I love. No heavy aftertaste and easy on the stomach. Aspire is packed with B and C vitamins, biotin, and ginger, and it's vegan, gluten-free, keto-friendly, really designed for real life. And just for Reading with Your Kids listeners, you can get an exclusive discount of 20% off. That's the highest discount available when you shop at aspiredrinks.com and use our promo code READ. That's READ at aspiredrinks.com. Healthy energy done right. Join us right now from the beautiful Garden State of New Jersey. Our guest is here today to celebrate. Her new picture book is called My Baby Doll. Please welcome to the show, Nicole Smith Schultz. Hey, Nicole, how are you?
Hi, I'm great. Thank you so much for having me on.
Delighted to have you on. My Baby Doll. Boy, oh boy, I remember when my daughter was a baby. She loved dolls. She had a room, just dolls covered the room when she was a kid.
That's where it was inspired from, was from me having a baby doll, but most importantly, having my first daughter. So yeah, she inspired the book.
Awesome. Well, tell us, who are we going to meet in the book and what's the story about?
So the story is really a short story. I guess you can look at it as just like a giant poem, but it tells the story of getting a baby doll for the first time as a child, while also telling the story of becoming a mom for the first time. So it kind of tells you how those experiences mirror each other, because that's how I feel. I feel like my daughter is my little baby doll, and I enjoy watching her play with her baby dolls and how she's mirroring what she gets from me, which makes me feel good. Like how she cares for them, how she cradles them and holds them, and just the innocence in playing with your baby dolls. It's a nice feeling.
Yeah, I bet that was. Yes, so many kids, girls, but also boys, just, kind of reflect that, oh, my mom's taking care of me, my dad's taking care of me, I'm going to take care of this doll here the same way.
Yeah. It makes you feel good. It makes you feel like you're doing something right. And it's interesting to see what they say, especially there's one page in the book where it talks about how, this doesn't come with instructions. And some days we're going to have headaches and be angry with each other. So it's funny to see the little girl in the story, the little character, kind of point at her stuffies like they're in trouble.
Yeah, boy, you're right about that. They don't come with instructions. But I think in some ways, that's part of the fun is, you don't have this manual that says, treat all kids like this. It forces you to get to know your child, to become as familiar with your child, what makes them happy, what makes them sad, how to protect them. Yes, I think that's part of the fun of being a parent.
Yeah. And it's nice to see that growing up, what it looks like to a child. Like, it's nice to see them go from, like, the other day she was just playing with her baby doll, and she was trying to change the diaper on the baby doll, which I thought was crazy. I was like, oh my goodness. It's just, it's interesting to see, because she's right at the age where my husband and I were going to start potty training her. So I'm just curious to see what happens next. It's wild to me what they pick up on.
Well, the neat thing is now you can write a different book every year for the next 18 years.
I could. She definitely has inspired me in so many ways. I've written books before. I've written 4 other books. This is my most recent book because this one actually came through the help of Glasswood Storyworks. So it's nice to have like a publishing company behind me now who is just great and really into family and just supportive. So to have a book about family for them to get behind was really helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah, so my baby doll is inspired by my daughter and just more of a tribute to what I was doing because there was a point where I wasn't going to have my own children because I am a school librarian. So I see kids every day, all day, sometimes too much. And then I fell in love with a man who has 3 children of his own. So I was good on that level of children. Like I was like, I got my school kids and I got my home life and I'm good. So I didn't think I was going to have my own kids. And then to one day just kind of decide, you know what, I think I want to leave a legacy and have my own child. And then to have a girl when I already have the 3 stepboys is amazing. Like she's like that perfect addition to our family. And then I just said, I just want to write about this experience right now, how I'm feeling, how it feels to be a mom. And because that's how the book starts, is like from the moment you were put into my arms. And it's in my mind, I'm imagining what it feels like to be a kid getting the baby doll for the first time, because that's how I felt in the hospital, getting something that I didn't think I was going to have, didn't know I wanted, but now here I am and I'm caring for it just in this innate way that I know how to. And it's mind blowing how you end up somewhere you didn't think you would be. So I had to write about it. It was my little baby doll.
Yeah. Isn't it just such an amazing feeling when you first meet your child?
Yes, it is. The first thing I remember seeing about her was her eyes, her eyes and her hair. It was like, whoa, this is my kid. It's crazy. She's her own person. And I do see elements of her. I see elements of my husband in her, of me in her, but she's her own person. She's very feisty. She's my baby doll now, but last week when we took away her binky, she was more of a brat doll. She was very upset.
It's incredible that children come into the world, like you said, with their own personality, fully, it's not fully formed, but they have their person. My son and my daughter are completely different people. They're both wonderful. I love them both. But you could tell from the moment my daughter came into the world, she was very different than my son, who'd been with us for a couple of years.
Yeah. They have their own personalities, and it shows up in just the weirdest places. Yeah.
Tell me, you mentioned that you're a school librarian. And
yes.
I've mentioned this on the podcast in the past. I think if it wasn't for my school librarian when I was in middle school, I may have had a very different experience in school. I was one of those kids who had a little bit of a lot of extra energy, and I would get through my work very quickly, and then I would be a pain in the neck. And for some reason, I don't know what, I loved being in the library because back then there was so much tech I could play with, and it wasn't like the tech kids are playing with today. It was like cassette tapes and things like that. But I loved creating, we called it tape radio. It was a podcast back then, and create movies and whatnot. So my teachers very wisely said, okay, when you finish your work, you can go down to the library. And Mrs. Drew was down there, and I would spend so much time with her and get to know her and learn so much from her. So she's not with us anymore, but anytime I have a librarian on the show, I always like to honor her and honor all school librarians, because you're such an important but oftentimes overlooked member of a school family.
Yes, 100%. Thank you. That's great to hear. And it looks like you've came full circle based on what you said about how you were as a kid and where you are now. Like, that's awesome. Yeah. But I enjoy what I do. I never thought I would love what I do so much to the point where I enthusiastically go to trainings for them and want to learn more about it. And like, how can I really master this craft of being a school librarian? Because I did start out teaching kindergarten for 2 years in Camden, which was great. Loved it, loved it, loved it. But my favorite time of the day was that reading block. I just had this passion for reading stories out loud and for getting a story to become just interesting to a student, to see like what's going to happen next. What's the main character going to do? And then the position for the school librarian at the school I was at the time opened up, and I just beeline to that position. I was like, how can I do this? So they said, okay, you can be our school librarian while you go back to school for that. And that's what I did. And I've been doing it ever since. This is my 11th year as a school librarian.
Awesome.
Yeah, I love it. I love this position. I love that I get to, because now school librarian has changed. So some places like to call us teacher librarians, but we are kind of there to enhance the ELA and the literacy, and which is awesome. So we're like that added piece that the students get. I like being a special. I like that students get to see me, like with art, music, and gym. They have library, because in that way they're getting some extra literacy, but it's kind of fun, so they don't feel like they're doing their typical reading and writing stuff. And then at the same time, I don't have a full-time classroom. So I have you for 40 minutes, then you go back. Because, you always got that class that you're like counting down the minutes, like, okay, when are they leaving? But I just love my position. I love sharing different genres with kids and finding out what types of literature they enjoy. I like talking about primary and secondary sources with the older kids, and the whole media literacy thing is really important right now because of technology, and really teaching the children of today really how to evaluate this information that they're getting, because they can just get it at their fingertips. So they got to really understand what they're getting. Also helping them be content creators, because that's the way of the world. So why not learn how to do it too? So it's just a beautiful position, because I do feel like I get the best of both worlds. I get my books, my literature, a little bit of technology, and I get to see everyone in school, which is another blessing about being a special area teachers. We get to see every kid in school and know every single face and see them go from kindergarten to 5th grade. So I love what I do. I couldn't be happier.
Yeah. That was one of the things I was going to point out. As a librarian, you're working with everybody in the school, and you're working with them year after year, and you're seeing them grow. There are so many schools where it's, okay, you're in Mrs. Jones's class in 2nd grade. Now when you go to 3rd grade, maybe Mrs. Jones will say hi to you, but there's really no going back. It's, you got a new teacher, and that's where you stay.
Yeah. It's nice to have that connection. It's nice to see the children come full circle and to see them grow and progress, because I might have a student who does not enjoy reading whatsoever when I first meet them. And then when I introduce them to different types of text, because maybe you don't enjoy reading because you just haven't found a book that you like reading. And there's just tons out there. There's novel and verse, there's graphic novels, there's just all types of text. So let's find what you enjoy, because you can enjoy reading. I really push reading and literacy. I think it's important. I think it was Jason Reynolds who said your life is dependent upon your relationship with words. And I've just lived by that quote ever since I've heard it, because it's so true. Like, no matter what you want to do, literacy is really important. So even if it's small little skills, like sometimes in library, I might give out like a genre word search or a crossword. These kids can't even do crosswords, puzzles. Crazy to me. I'm like, do a crossword. And just because these things kind of enhance them and get them better for later on in life. It's important.
Yeah. And I love that you're teaching media literacy. That is so important. I just happen to have been taking a media literacy class when my daughter was in 8th grade. And one of the things that the class taught was, don't try to ban media. You sit down, experience it with your kids and talk about it. And that was the year that Jersey Shore was coming out. And my daughter's seeing the commercials, and she goes, I want to see that show. And my first instinct is, hell no. But then I thought, okay, I got this class and it's saying, so me and my daughter sat down and we watched Snooki and the situation and all that. And at the end of the show, and I probably laughed, sometimes it was inappropriate. And at the end of the show, we sat down and we talked. And I said, what do you think about when this happened? And, oh, that was really funny, blah, blah, blah. I said, what do you think about Snooki? And it was like, oh, but Snooki has no self-respect. No one should let people talk to her like that. And I'm like, oh, there's something to this. This is great.
Yeah.
I don't even have to teach this. This, my kid knows this, and we had great conversations about it. And, yeah, so but kids are consuming so much media, and it's so important for them to understand who's making it, why it's being made, if it's reliable, if you can trust it. Especially, I mean, my daughter was in 8th grade 20 years ago. I can't imagine what it's like being in 8th grade now with all, being bombarded with media.
Yeah, because you're going to get the news report about what's going on in the world with like racial injustice or like politics, or just everything is just going to be coming at their fingertips. So it's important to talk about it. And it's also important to teach them how to create their own, because they have their own opinions. They want things to say. And it's like, well, create it. Don't just sit back and watch it. Like, how do you feel? Let's put your opinions out there, but then understand to do it in a respectable manner is also important, and teaching just that whole digital citizenship component and how we want to make sure that you understand there's consequences behind these screens. So we do want to watch what we say and how we react and respond. But it is important to teach. We have to teach it.
Yeah. So many schools that I visited, people who went to a school with a school librarian, with the library, they just assume that every school has it. I was really surprised. I learned through the interns that have worked on the podcast here in Boston, 40% of the schools, public schools, do not have a library. Yeah. The school where my beautiful wife worked, they technically had a library, but it was actually a cage, about a 6x6 cage, and an aide would sit inside the cage, and kids would line up, come up to the door, and the aide would pass them a book. There was no choosing, no discussion, no talking about genres. It was, here's your book, bring it back next week. And, that passes for a library, and that's horrific.
Oh, that's awful. Yeah, it's the same way in Jersey. Not every school has school librarians. I believe it's the same way in Pennsylvania, which is why I'm happy to be a part of the New Jersey Association of School Librarians, because we get together, we have our conferences, and we check on each other. We make sure we know what school district just lost a librarian, or which school district is in need of a full-time librarian, just to kind of get the word out and really advocate for our positions and for each other. Because it's important, and not every school does have one, and they should.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. It's an incredibly valuable resource. And I'm so happy that the kids that you're serving have it. What do your kids think about the fact that their librarian is an author?
They love it. They love it. And I'm so happy they love it. I have a little sign on my desk that says, "Our librarian is an author." And I have my baby doll book on display right next to it. They love it. And then I tell them once they see it, I say, I've written other books as well. So then they want to read my other books. And it's nice too, because my very first book, Could My Teacher Be a Superhero, was inspired by my life as a kindergarten teacher at the time. Because I had this mom tell me that her son just hated school before I got there, that he was kicking and screaming coming in. So she said to me one day, she's like, "I don't know what kind of spell you have over my son, but he loves coming here now." So I took that idea and I just ran with it. Like, what if a teacher did have a superpower? How would a kid react to that? So a lot of my writing comes from my experiences as a teacher. Baby Doll is just different for numerous reasons, because I'm with a publishing company now, and because it's inspired by my daughter, which is different from being inspired by school events. So, but yeah, they get a kick out of knowing that their librarian is an author.
Yeah. I love some of your titles. Could My Neighbor Be a Prince?
Yes. Another one inspired by when I was working in Camden, I would notice how at pickup the students, I don't want to say gawk, but they would stare at the parents getting picked up that were kind of dressed in the official Muslim attire and things like that. So in my mind, from seeing how they were looking at them, I would think, I wonder what they're thinking when they look at them. Yeah. Because it was in a way of such curiosity and innocence. So could my neighbor be a prince because he dressed differently than me? In my mind, that looks like royalty. So that's where that came from. Yeah. So that one's a great one, because it's a great teaching tolerance of our different cultures that are out there in the world today.
Yeah. And one of the titles that I absolutely love is Call Your Grandmother. Because I think intergenerational friendships are so important. Again, my grandmother was one of my best friends. She would ride in the back of my motorcycle and we'd go to the WWE together and cheer on Hulk Hogan. And, she was awesome.
Yes, that's a very personal one to me. My grandmother passed in 2016 and she was just my biggest supporter. I'm the first grandbaby, so I was glued to her. And one of my favorite things to do with her was talk on the phone. We would always just talk. So I wrote that book one morning. I just got up in the kitchen and I just started writing, right? Like, cause when it comes to you, it comes to you. You got to write. And I wrote that in her honor after losing her. I named my daughter after her. I really enjoyed my grandmother. I miss her dearly, but she used to tell me when I wanted to write books, because I was teaching. I love the reading block. I'm really strong advocate for literacy. And I'm on the phone with her one day and I was like, I want to write a book. Like, I would love to write one of the books that I'm reading to kids that I love so much. I feel like I can tell stories. I feel like I have it in me. And she said to me, she was like, well, what's stopping you? I said, oh, okay. And in my mind, I'm going to grad school at night. I'm teaching every day. Like, I'm busy, Grandma. But no, she was right. What is stopping me? So then after that conversation, she told me, she was like, you should surround yourself with people who are doing what it is that you want to do. So you want to write a book? Go find some book authors. You want to get out there, start going to book festivals. I think she told me, she was like, Facebook, like, switch up your algorithm, like, follow certain people, like, do what you need to do if this is what you want to do. And it just made so much sense. So I just loved her dearly. I mean, she gave me the best advice when she was here. It's still sinking over to today. I'm leaving lessons with my daughter that I hope she remembers. I hope she feels honored, because I feel like naming my daughter after her was probably just the biggest thing I could do. So
yeah, that's beautiful. Really. Let's tell everybody where they can go to find out more about My Baby Doll and all the great books that have come from your imagination.
Yes, please. They can go to classwoodstoryworks.com. That is my publishing company. You'll see my bio there. You'll see the link to buy your own copy of Baby Doll. And you can follow me at Miss Smith Library on X. And Books by Nicole, that's the name of my book company. You can see that on X and Facebook.
We've had a wonderful time speaking to the author of My Baby Doll. It is the new picture book from our guest, Nicole Smith Schultz. Hey, Nicole, thanks so much for being on Reading with Your Kids.
Yes, thank you so much for having me.
That's a wrap on this episode of Reading with Your Kids. If this episode made you smile or gave you something to think about, please consider sharing a link to the show with someone you love. Leave a 5-star review and, of course, subscribe to the show wherever you find your favorite shows. We'd also love for you to connect with us on social media, facebook.com/readingwithyourkids, at Reading With Your Kids on Instagram, at Deadly Magic on X. Our YouTube channel, youtube.com/readingwithyourkids, and our website is readingwithyourkids.com. If you are the author of a fantastic children's book, you absolutely want to check out readingwithyourkids.com. Click on the Authors Click Here button up at the top of the page to find out how you can be a guest here in the show. Being a guest is fun, it's easy, and it gives you the chance to tell thousands of Kidlit fans all over the world about your fantastic children's book. I want to thank the folks who made today's show so wonderful, starting with our guest, Allie Slocom. Please be sure to check out Is There Hope for Theodore Cope. Also want to thank Nicole Smith Schultz. Please be sure to check out My Baby Doll. I want to thank my team, Chris Doherty, Daylene Advina Lopez, Ella Badea. I want to thank my beautiful wife for all the support and love she gives me. Most of all, we all want to thank you. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. Most of all, thank you so very much for taking the time to make the world a kinder, stronger, more loving and empathetic place. And you do that every time you read with your kids. I'll be looking through the next episode of Reading with Your Kids.
the ocean wide. Families reading side by side. Every page is a magic ride. Open a book and come inside. Different voices, different lands, different dreams and different plans. But every child understands love grows stronger hand in hand. Read it with your kids tonight. Turn a little moments bright. One more story, one more smile. Making memories all the while. Reading with your kids each day helps your family find its way. Across the world we all believe books can help our hearts achieve. From the loveliest neighborhood in Boston town, where kindness lifts everybody up, not down. We laugh, we learn, we sing along. Every family story belongs. Authors, dreamers, moms and dads, grandparents, to the best we've had. Come together, take a look, the whole world